Let's now see the pricing and output decision of monopolists. Very important for you to know to handle innovative product business. Basically, a monopolist is a price searcher, that is, a seller with the ability to control to a good degree the price of the product it sells. In contrast to a price taker, a price searcher can raise its price and still sell its product, although not as many units as it could sell in the lower price. Let's first understand monopolist demand and marginal revenue. The monopolist demand and marginal revenue. As I have already told you, the monopoly firm is the industry itself by definition, and the industry is the monopoly firm. They are one and the same. Thus, the demand curve for the monopoly firm is the market demand curve, which is downward sloping. A downward sloping demand curve posits an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. More is sold at lower prices than at higher prices, ceteris paribus. That is, of all other things remain the same. Unlike the perfectly competitive firm, the monopolist can raise its price and still sell its product, though not as much. Because it faces a downward sloping demand curve, to sell an additional unit of its product, the monopolist must necessarily lower the price. For example, the monopoly seller originally planned to sell 2 units of X a day at $10 each, and now wishes to sell 3 units a day. To sell more units, it must lower its price to, say, $9.75. It sells the 3 units at $9.75 each. So, to sell an additional unit, a monopoly firm must lower price on all previous units. Note that the terms previous and additional don't refer to an actual sequence of events. A firm doesn't sell 100 units of a good and then decide to sell 1 more unit. Either the firm sells 100 units over some period of time, or it sells 101 units over the same period of time. If the firm wants to sell 101 units, the price per unit must be lower than if it wants to sell 100 units. A monopoly seller both gains and loses by lowering price. As exhibit shows, the monopolist in our example gains $9.75, the price of the additional units sold, because price was lowered. It loses 50 cents, 25 cents on the first unit it used to sell at $10, plus 25 cents on the second unit it used to sell at $10. Gains are greater than losses. The monopolist's net gain from selling the additional unit of output is simple to calculate. $9.25 is actually 9.75 minus 0.5, which is equal to $9.25. This is the monopolist's marginal revenue, the change in total revenue that results from selling 1 additional unit of output. Seen another way, marginal revenue can also be calculated as total revenue is $20 when 2 units are sold at $10 each. Total revenue is $29.25 when 3 units are sold at $9.75 each. The change in total revenue that results from selling 1 additional unit of output is $9.25. Notice that the price of the good, $9.75, is greater than the marginal revenue, $9.25. That is, P is greater than MR. This is the case for a monopoly seller or any price searcher. For a monopolist, P is greater than MR. Recall that for the firm in perfect competition, where P is equal to MR.
So you want to say that the monopolist demand and marginal revenue curves are not the same. In perfect competition, the firm's demand curve is the same as its marginal revenue curve.
Correct! In monopoly, the firm's demand curve is not the same as its marginal revenue curve, but rather lies above its marginal revenue curve. The demand curve plots price and quantity, P and Q. The marginal revenue curve plots marginal revenue and quantity, MR and Q. Because price is greater than marginal revenue for a monopolist, its demand curve necessarily lies above its marginal revenue curve. One point to note here, for the first unit of output, the price and marginal revenue are the same, right? For the first item that is sold, the price has to be equal to the marginal revenue always. So, in this graph, there would always be one common point, the point from where the two graphs start, that is, for the first unit of output.